allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, you might want on the attendance back here on for those two. Okay. Consideration to approve the proposed agenda for the September 4th, 2019 Board of Directors meeting. Moved by John, seconded by Jolene. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Consideration to approve the minutes of the August 7th and August 14th Board of Directors meeting. So moved by John, seconded by Jolene. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, I'd like to welcome two new student representatives to the board. We got Kyle Sprague and Belle Libby. So I hope your time on the board is as enjoyable as our time is going to be with you folks. So, business finance reports. Finance committee report on the September 4th meeting. Next meeting, October 2nd.
The finance committee met this morning at 10 o'clock. There's very little to report except that we've started our year. The food service program is a negative, which it always is at this time of year. And it will probably take until November or December to turn itself around when it starts receiving state subsidy. Other than that, we have expended 13.9% of our budget during the months of July and August. And we're in good shape. The auditors have basically finished their work. They're coming back to clean up loose ends. And we will, in the next month or so, be asked to transfer funds from accounts that have overages to cover the accounts that are a little bit short. But that's a standard procedure. And when they finish the audit, then we will have firm figures to work with and do that at that time. And that's about it.
Any questions for Carol? Thank you, Carol. Curriculum coordinator.
Thanks. It's been a fabulous start to the school year. We started off with our opening workshop day with the Alice training. So Trooper Jeremy Pyburn brought Trooper Wing and Officer Solomon, who's the school resource officer at MSAD55. Trooper Pyburn did an amazing job and kept our staff's attention on a really challenging topic to hear, especially at the beginning of school. Thanks to Mrs. Perkins for attending. So I thought our staff asked some great questions, and we'll move forward with that implementation. We still have an opening in pre-K. There were some students who moved, and so we have one opening left that we're anxiously trying to fill. We did a substitute orientation. Huge thanks to Assistant Principal Jim Walsh for the high school. He led most of that training. He does a really fantastic job of welcoming substitutes and making them feel at ease and answering their questions. I'm super excited that this year Mr. Thomas, who's one of our social studies teachers, has brought back AP US History, and we have 30 students enrolled. So it's incredible. So we're really excited that he took that training this summer and that class is running. We are preparing for our annual staff and community celebration. It's going to be on October 2nd. That's when we congratulate and thank all of our employees on the fives. So we'll be going all the way to people celebrating their 35th year this year, and we'll also be honoring community individuals and organizations for their support of Sockbee Valley. And thanks to at least Adrian Mills and maybe some other people who mentioned the idea, we're also going to start honoring educators who complete their master's degree. So I think that'll be a nice thing to round out that evening as well. Not in my report, but just for you to know, Samantha Wedgwood, our food nutrition director, is always looking at ways to improve what we do. We're going to try offering free breakfast to all of our students in grades 4 through 6 next week. We've been doing that at the elementary school. It's called Breakfast in the Classroom. It's been incredibly successful. 90% of our students eat breakfast. It is a self-sustaining program. We're going to try that in grades 4 through 6 and see if that works for middle school, and then if that does, maybe look at it going in the other grade levels. We're also looking at the high school. We offered it for a week and students didn't take advantage of that, but we're going to try doing something maybe in the lobby, thinking that maybe if students didn't have to go to the cafeteria, that was more of a grab and go, that more students might take advantage of that. So we are off and running. We have lots of exciting things going on.
Jolene?
How is the breakfast program self-sustaining?
Because of the funds that we receive for free and reduced lunch students, it offsets the cost of the funds that we don't receive for students who are not eligible for that subsidy. Does that make sense?
No, but I believe you.
We're breaking even. We're not making money, but we break even on what it costs us to provide it for. So what the reimbursement that we receive for free and reduced lunch students is perhaps a tiny bit more than what it really costs us.
Oh, okay.
So that money offsets students who might not be eligible for that. Sure.
It may be too late this year, but have we considered doing the same, thanking substitute teachers who have put in 5, 10, 15, 20 years
That's a
at the same
fabulous
time?
idea. Yeah, we have not. That's a great idea. I'm sure Becky we can figure out how many years. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, that I think would
Yes.
just be the tough part. But
Yeah, no, we can work on that because I think they really are unsung heroes in our schools for
Is it too
continuing
late for
learning.
this year?
It's never too
No?
late.
Okay, great.
It's a definite maybe.
Yeah.
How's that, Judy? Is
Thank
that
you for
good?
the idea.
Any other questions for Sue? Okay, there were no meetings for anything this last month, so that was an easy go. Facilities reports, Construction Transportation Safety Committee report on August 14th and September 4th meeting.
So I'll do my usual start and then turn to Sue for anything I missed, but I wanted to thank Carol Levitt and Sue Melanson. We had meetings right away this morning, 10 and 10:30, and they both turned over their minutes and their reports day of. I think that's pretty impressive, so thanks to those ladies. And I just had a chance to read what Sue had sent, and it's amazing. Sue mentioned this morning, Sue Melanson moves quickly in construction world, particularly this time of year, and it looks like there's a great transition from August to September, so a lot of overlap. So just some quick updates, and then, like I said, I'll turn to Sue Melanson. Ward Hill architect Jeff Fleming has created some initial plans for a vestibule at our elementary school for safety and security out front. We'll be looking at a main office plan for our high school and for perhaps some bathrooms at our athletic facility outside by the soccer, football field, track, baseball field. So we've seen an initial picture, construction's seen that picture. I think the next plan is Jeff Fleming will talk to the people in district. When we get something that we really like, we'll bring it to construction to look at, and then ultimately I would say sue to the board or defer to the board. Sound system outside, so this is super cool. We have a couple kids here, so that's nice. So I know you probably don't remember as students, but lugging the speakers up and down from the 3rd floor of the tower. If you notice at the tower in the middle of the ball field, we have 6 permanent speakers attached. 2 go out to the soccer football field, 2 go to the bleachers, 1 goes to baseball, and 1 to field hockey. We were really worried that the 1 to field hockey wouldn't cover, but we went, we had quite a crew there. Britt Wolf, Jim Walsh, Sue Day, Carl Landry, Heath Cormier, who's taping this show right now, Carrie Sawyer, and tested. And I don't claim to know anything about tech or sound, but when they turned something the right way, you could hear the sound system at field hockey. So I think we will cover every ball field with a turnkey system. So that was pretty cool and should be a nice addition for our students and community. So that was neat. I'm definitely going to save the playground for Sue Melanson because I think she is as excited about it as the students. And just a quick note. Oh, this one I should definitely mention. I don't know if I remember mentioning the whole board or just the construction committee. Fuel tank underground at our elementary school. They thought didn't have a hull around it, which is a protection. Upon further review, it does have a fiberglass hull. We were talking about maybe having to replace. And our understanding from the petroleum folks that come and observe, as long as we test the wells on a weekly basis, that we should be okay with the underground tank. I think construction felt good about that, so we'll continue to monitor and keep you updated, but we feel good about where we're at about the outdoor underground oil tank at the elementary school. Tag, Sue Melanson.
Okay. The elementary school playground equipment arrived yesterday, and we had planned on installing it. The kids will go home with the playground now, and then all the additional equipment will be put in over the weekend, but it's not going to be this weekend because of the weather. or the predicted weather. So it's going to be the weekend of the 14th, and the kids will go home on Friday with just the playground you see now, and on Monday when they come in, they're going to have $30,000 worth of new playground equipment, which is all stored behind the modular where the adult education is. A couple of other things from the last month's well, I'm kind of combining the two meetings, but we have a Gaga court behind the middle school, thanks to Girl Scout Olivia Marion, and she got all the materials donated and put it up, and I understand there's a lot of excited people about the Gaga court, which is something like dodgeball for 20 people, and it's a very fast-paced thing. The elementary school windows, 25 windows are complete on the front side of the building. The back side of the building will be done at a later date. The greenhouse in the high school garden is up. The middle school has fencing that's been completed, and the chips for the paths have been refreshed. And the monarch butterflies are feeding on the milkweed, and they are out now? Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so they're out now. The Rec Council sent a letter to us. Connie Wood, on behalf of the Rec Council, sent a letter asking if we could have pickleball lines on the tennis courts. And the construction committee talked about that and voted to do this at the district's expense. And Beaver Brook Tennis will be coming in to do it. The lines for pickleball will be narrower, and they're going to be navy blue as opposed to the lines for tennis. So hopefully it won't be too confusing for the tennis people. But pickleball apparently is a very popular modified tennis thing for older people. Take advantage of it. Anybody can take advantage of it, but yeah. The basketball hoops on the tennis courts are getting a lot of use. Carl was looking at the security cameras to count people that were doing that. Looking at all these different notes. We also have a mural in the pre-K portable that was painted by Mrs. Pasdro, and it uses the elements of the books that the children in pre-K are going to be reading. The Horizons building roof has been replaced, and the mold and the lichens that were growing on the boulder sculptures outside the middle school have been removed. The committee decided that we are going to meet from here on out on the first Wednesday of the month, right after finance. So the next meeting will be on October 2nd at 10:30 in the morning. And that's what it's going to be from here on out. So that's my report.
Any questions for Sue? Been doing a lot around here.
Yes, we always are.
I know. Okay, superintendent report.
So my superintendent report is for the folks at home. I know you have agendas in front of you. It's the time of year with resignations and appointments, so I'll just read for folks listening and watching. Superintendent Carol Landry accepted resignations from Dave Martin, boys varsity basketball assistant coach, Mike Bernard, middle school football coach, Tammy McNulty, technology teacher, Lisa Joy, educational technician, Teresa Barnes, middle school field hockey coach, Kevin Miner, varsity baseball coach, Mandy LaValle, social studies teacher at Saukview Valley Middle School, Tracy Flagg, Hawks helpers advisor, Miranda Whitney, Title I educational technician. And obviously with resignations come some appointments, so the following individuals have been appointed. Heidi Bolia, educational technician, Kim Flanagan, educational technician, Heath Cormier, Saukview Valley High School Morning Minute advisor, Christina Rich, grade 1 team leader, Emily Frizzell Day, who'll be sharing, grade 1 team leader, Rose Fowler, van monitor, Christine Camden, educational technician, and Shelley Lemieux, social studies teacher at Saukview Valley Middle School. Those are the appointments and resignations.
So,
What's a van monitor?
So without getting too heavy into detail, so you have an individual driving the van with some individual students who have specialized transportation and may need an individual on the bus to help the individual students who are riding that van.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Okay. We'll go to the policy reports. The policy committee had no meeting. However, there are a couple of policies that are in the pipeline. For the action items, consideration to approve the following policies as a second read and adoption: JL, student wellness, and JLCA, physical examinations of students.
So moved.
Moved by Judy, seconded by Jolene. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Other action items: consideration to enter executive session to discuss a personnel matter pursuant to 1 MRSA, Section 4056F.
So moved.
Moved by John, seconded by
Second.
Carol. Any discussion? Okay. All in favor going into executive session? Opposed? Motion carries. We will go into executive session.